if you don't stand out and they don't remember what you stand for and what you're about, you go into a bucket where they're like, any one of these people will do. So, which one's the cheapest?
Welcome to Connect to Market. I'm Casey Cheshire. Join us as we learn from marketing leaders who are driving founder-led growth. We're sponsored by Ringmaster, building B2B podcasts and communities to reconnect you with your audience. Okay, we're doing it. Man, the adventure continues. I'm so excited for the episode today. I'm so excited to talk to the guest today. He is awesome, and he is like the brand whisperer. So if you felt like your brand is lacking, if you felt like your approach to marketing, and he is a cybersecurity expert too, man, we're going to just get into this today. I'm going to lose myself in this introduction because he is a marketing leader, a thought leader, a design strategist, a serial entrepreneur, a brand builder, and he's all about that human-centered marketing. He's led transformations across strategy, brand, product design, globally around cybersecurity. Can I say cybersecurity enough? Well, maybe not, because I want to influence those LLMs out there. But he has been a mentor. He has been a speaker. He has been at places like the Imperial College in London, the University of Arts London, as an expert that they've recognized. As well, he got an award as the Enterprise Awards of the top UK emerging entrepreneurs, one of the top emerging entrepreneurs. This is like the Oscars of the tech industry in the UK. Co-founder of Yaya, Phill Keaney-Bolland. Welcome to the show, sir.
Wow. Nobody has ever introduced me like that before. Thanks, Casey. You're great too.
Well, hey, man, I'm excited. I'm glad you're here. We had a chance to meet at RSA actually, and we had some great conversations. And you were the guy that takes stealth cybersecurity companies and brings them to the party. You are the one that helps unveil new brands and create new brands and all these things. So I'm excited to learn from you today. And, this is a very complex question that we ask every first guest, but it requires something extraordinary. So in order to ask you this first question to start the show off right, I need to put on this giant blue foam finger to ask you this. So, Phill, I need to know, and you thought this was a serious podcast, I need to know, what is the number one thing that marketers need to do in order to connect to their market?
Well, firstly, damn, because I was going to wear that today. I had my own huge giant blue finger.
Do you really?
Ready to go. So it's lucky that I didn't decide to wear that one today. But yeah, like, I mean, it's a great simple question, and I'm sure there's like a ton of very clickbaity answers I could come up with, like, fire your whole marketing team, replace them with AI, all of those kind of things. But the honest answer is there is no one simple thing that you can do and it'll solve all of your problems. And anybody who says that there is probably somebody that you shouldn't listen to. So I have no snake oil. And I also have nothing to say really that's like, oh, well, now it's all changed and it's all about this kind of thing. The honest answer is, firstly, I think in most cases, do less. I don't think things have changed that fundamentally over the past couple of years and the entire time that I've been working in marketing. The foundational elements are totally the same. Like, let me give you an example. I spoke to somebody recently who's an AEO specialist, and I hear from a lot of people, oh, what do I need to do about getting LLMs to pick up my website and make sure that people are finding me in Claude and all of those kind of things. And we chatted, and like, for sure there are loads of technical things that you can do to make sure that you get picked up. But really, and he's right at the cutting edge of this. His advice was just be very clear on who it is that you're targeting and what it is you can do for those people, and communicate it in a way that's very, very easy to follow for humans and very, very easy to follow for LLMs. Pick a niche, lead with value, solve their problems for them, all of this kind of stuff that, like, you could probably go back 100 years and it would still be the same stuff that people are saying. But the thing is, a lot of the time, actually, businesses don't have a very, very simple elevator pitch, value proposition that everybody can just reel off instantly, straight off the bat, or that everybody agrees is what they're actually about. Most businesses would find it difficult to say, this is how specifically we differentiate from our competitors. Um, and really, that for me is the first thing that you really need to understand to connect with your audience: who they are, how they're niche, what it is they're trying to do, what's painful about it, and then what are you going to do to try and take that pain away from them?
Man, you had me worried here. I ask you this question, and you're basically like, that question's bullshit. No. But no, what was great is you didn't throw out that classic marketing silver bullet type. Here's some sexy new thing you got to do. Connect your Bing search web console to this other. Like, you were just like, man, it goes back to the fundamentals. And it's funny. I heard people say that before, but when you ask who who can you serve and what can you do for them, I thought, oh, come on, that's so basic. And I thought, oh shit, do I even have that figured out lock solid for Ringmaster? And I'm like, I do, but does the whole organization have that, right? Does everyone know that, to your point? Probably not. And then also, how do you differentiate? And does everyone know that? Probably not. And that's just a small team of 10. Approach the mid-market side, 1,000 people may all be saying totally different things across the board.
Yeah.
Do you see this a lot with the groups you work with?
So if you want to know whether you have that, sit down and just design a new website. And if you find that you're able to just write all the content and everybody in the room is like, yep, that's fine. Or even if they're like, Casey, don't worry about it. You just go and do that by yourself. And like, we know that we'll agree with, what you say, because we all know that we're definitely on the same page. Then cool. You probably have that level of clarity. But what we find a lot of the time, and we design and build a lot of websites for people, is it's the moment when somebody has to commit to something, or like a team of people have to commit to something. So there are, and particularly, I'm not talking about selling cans of Coke here, but like selling B2B stuff. There are a bunch of people who are wandering around having different conversations with customers all the time, and they're like alchemists. They sit in a room, they hear what somebody's saying, they adapt their message to those people. And they all have their own patterns and things that they are particularly interested in and lean on. But then when you say, well, we've got to just put one message out to the world, to all the people who come on our website, you can't be fluid, and you two can't be saying two totally different things because you're not both there. This is a website that's going to be, it's classic one-to-many stuff. That's the point when people either realize that they're not all on the same page, or they just clash, and it becomes really, really challenging to get that stuff just into one. This is the message. This is what we're putting out there. This is what people need to know to buy from us.
I love that test. I've never heard that before. And the moment you said it, I could picture it. Right. I could picture. Yeah, right. Are they going to let you go write the website on your own? Yeah, not likely. Which means, okay, I guess we're not aligned on what we do. That you were, man, it's the moment you have to commit is what you said. And I start it. I don't know if you can see this. I start it and I underlined it. Like, I was like, yeah, it is. The website's a perfect example of that, but other cases too. The collateral for the trade show or printing the background on the booth. What are you going to say? You're going to spend thousands of dollars to print that, and it's stuck on there. And if you don't like it, you got to do a new one. Even harder than a website. What are you going to put on there? And if you haven't already nailed this, then you're just going to it's going to be a combo. Do you encounter this where people are like, I want a new website, but really they haven't had these discussions? And so new website is actually turns into, I need to get clear on my brand.
I mean, almost all the time, like 100% of the time.
I could see that.
I also think it's not just websites. It's everything. You go, well, we did this ad and nobody clicked on it. And it's like, well, what's the message on the ad? Is this a thing that people really care about? Is this a thing they want to buy? Why would they click on the ad? It's probably, there's lots of downstream reasons that something like that could fail, but it's probably not worth worrying too much about those things until you are absolutely certain you've cracked the root cause of everything, which is what's the value proposition? Who are you trying to talk
Yeah.
to? What do they care about?
So it does kind of beg the question. I guess really the website falls into place, and it's not really even about the website. It's about answering these questions. How long does that process take? I imagine. I mean, this is probably why web projects take so long, anyways, is because you're deciding what to commit to.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, it isn't that difficult to design a website, and it isn't that difficult to build a website, but it is incredibly difficult to align on what the content of a website is going to be. And I think everybody who's ever built a website knows that's the case. And partly because I think it's a very difficult thing to outsource. So you end up with, specialists in writing and tone of voice and brand and all of those kinds of things. You can't really say to them, write me some incredibly technical, compelling copy that's going to appeal to somebody who themselves is very, very technical and wants to understand, somebody talking on their level. That has to come from very technical people, but they're also not necessarily the best at writing. And I'd only ever seen it really work as a bit of a sort of tennis match where you're kind of hitting things back and forth and shaping over time. And the bigger the company, the more people who are involved, the more they have features, all those kind of things. But I come back to what I said at the start in answer to your first question about actually just doing less. You can't realistically cater to everybody. You have to simplify things down. You have to manage your expectations about what one single marketing interaction, brand interaction, whatever you want to call it, can do. Just don't overcomplicate every single deliverable so that I see this a lot. It's like, well, we're going to go out there and we're going to put a message out, and you go, okay, well, try and be specific about who you're talking to. And it's like, yeah, but what about these other people who might see it? And like, well, you can dilute the message and you can try and make it be all things to all people, but it's going to be less effective overall. Actually, maybe don't worry about those people right now. Like, just target this message at these people and be confident that we're just going to make it very, very specific to them. And if these other people look at it, they're going to think, yeah, that probably isn't for me. But, that's fine. There's enough of those people that we're trying to talk to who can buy enough stuff to make your business viable.
It feels like it's a mix of a counseling session here, trying to get these businesses to have a little courage enough to niche down and not try to be all things for all people. Are people able to do that with a little conversation, or do you often have people resisting? And what percent of people listen and actually take the niche approach?
I found a pattern in second-time founders who start businesses and they start them with a very niche focus, and almost no first-time founders ever want to do that. So it's, I read into that what you would all think.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say a good percentage of my clients might describe me as kind of designer slash therapist, though. Like, this stuff is hard, and it's getting harder. Particularly I think in space like cybersecurity or just any kind of B2B tech, B2B services, those kinds of things. Everybody had competitors already, but now everybody has the same competitor. Like, everybody's up against Anthropic, everybody's up against OpenAI, everybody's up against an inevitable change. Every SaaS platform is going to have to become an agentic platform. Like now is a now is a good time to be a therapist, I think.
I agree. I agree. Marketing therapy. You're listening live to marketing therapy. It's like an episode of Frasier.
Oh yeah, get some callers in.
Hello, caller. I'm listening. So one of the questions I was curious about is how does it get this far? How do companies operate without having these questions answered to even get to the point where they want to redesign a website, which means they already have one to begin with? How it's so foundational and so fundamental, but it feels like a lot of companies, most companies, just are operating without a foundation. How, like how?
Because it's really hard. Is the honest answer.
It is hard.
I mean, it's made harder than it should be for lots of reasons. But like, if you think about, you're gonna start a business,
Yeah.
and you have an idea, and you haven't built your tech platform yet. You haven't delivered any client work. First thing you're trying to do is validate, right? Like you're trying to, people always talk about kind of finding product market fit,
Yeah.
all of those kind of things. Like that is difficult, and it takes a while, and it's ultimately the difference between the small percentage of businesses that make it and the big percentages of business that don't. It's the first kind of acid test there. You have to go out and try and validate that in as quick and low effort a way as possible. And there are lots of ways you can do that. Like you can, just take a value proposition, define it, then survey it out to people, and then speak to those people. Some businesses are great at doing that. We had one client spoke to 200 of their target customers before they even decided what the business was going to be.
I love that.
A lot of businesses don't do it at all. They have an idea and they think that that's the way they want to go, and maybe they're a bit ahead of the market. Maybe they just kind of don't want to listen to people, and they don't do it. Either way, it's not easy. Like that is a difficult thing to do. It's not easy to get everybody to agree on stuff, and this is more true in larger companies, but if you have, I don't know, 20 people, very, very senior, very kind of powerful in their own ways, and you need to get them all to agree, and you're running the marketing team. At some point you will just give up, and you'll just start compromising, because you'll have to, because you're like, well, I'm never going to get this website launched, which they're all saying they want me to do, unless either they all pick pick a what do you call it, like a place to put their chips, like unless everybody kind of just agrees to do that, or we just dilute everything to a point where nobody's like that unhappy about it, but nobody's really that happy about it. And the final thing is like, my entire career we've spoken about like test and learn and iterate and move fast, break things, whatever, but that actually the reality is most people probably aren't running experiments on their website. They're probably not A/B testing stuff. They're probably making decisions because the CEO has strong opinions rather than because they have detailed analytics. Again, that stuff is hard to do, but it doesn't have to be. Right?
No.
There are answers to all of those things. Again, I come back to where I started. If you do less, you have more time to actually work on the top things that make more of an impact, and to resolve those questions, and to build stronger foundations. If you're sat there now and you're like super, super worried about the noise that kind of comes out of people trying to sell you software in the marketing space, don't worry about that. We say just worry about the fundamental stuff first. Make sure that is absolutely working. Pick one channel and be the best brand on that channel, and make sure that's the one that actually delivers customers. Don't worry about the 200 others that you could be investing in, because it just dilutes your time and it dilutes your effectiveness.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I mean, and the thought occurred to me, you could always change it later, if it doesn't work. So you could full send on a particular group. I mean, ideally, I like the story you mentioned of the 200 conversations, because you'd have a much more informed decision of where you place your chips, where you make your bet. But you can always change it, evolve. But to start with, you probably don't even know enough to evolve if you don't put enough down, right? You don't, hey, we're everything to everyone, and it somewhat works, and we're not really sure who to change it to because we don't have the data points. Tell me about that one company you mentioned that did the 200 conversations. Were they in stealth mode, and before launching a solid brand, they were having these conversations and just talking to, whether it was like CISOs or future buyers about the hole in the market, the need.
Yeah. I mean, they're phenomenal. Like they all came from a very, very successful cybersecurity company. They just knew what they were doing, and it's like I said about second time founders. They'd been around the block, and they just listened, and they just went, okay, let's not put our chips down too early. They had the luxury of time. They weren't trying to do a million things at once. They were just trying to do this. And by the time we met them and we spoke to them, they they had cracked a lot of the tricky questions, and they had validated. They had proved it, and it got them off to a really, really strong start. I don't think anything I've said means I can't mention them, but the company is Twine Security, and they were in the we met at RSA. They were actually in the Innovation Sandbox final the year before. They've done really well. They continue to do really, really well. But to your point, it's not just that you could change it later. Like, you are going to have to change this stuff constantly. And if you're working in tech right now, just think about what the past couple of years has been. How many times have you had to? People are sitting there and they're going, "Well, there's an Anthropic release coming out. We all know about it. Mythos is going to change the world. It's going to change the way cybersecurity looks as an industry. How do you think you're going to survive with the message that you came up with 18 months ago in that environment?" And I think you on a really good point, like having that mindset of I'm not tattooing this onto myself, because this is a what's the saying? A strong belief lightly held. We're passionate about this right now. We're going to put it out there. We're going to see how it does. We're going to test against other things. We're going to get the data. But what are the consequences of getting this wrong? Like, your conversion rate drops a little bit. Maybe it goes up. Nobody's suggesting you put out like political messaging or things that are going to reflect really, really badly on your brand. It's all going to be within a zone of tolerance where the impact is relatively low. Sad to say, the only brand that doesn't have to worry about that is probably Coke every Christmas, because they just put out the same amount of birds.
I think if they got rid of the polar bears or the Santa drinking a Coke, people would, they'd riot.
Yeah.
Or it would fall flat. I mean, it's a message. It's consistent. It makes sense. So to that cyber company that did that work, it sounds like by the time they're chatting with you and you're asking them these tough questions, maybe they haven't even thought of the question, but at least they have the data to answer it, right? When you're asking them, hey, what do you want to put here, 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 here? On the website or just in general, like, tell me about your brand. They've had the conversations to be able to know how to answer the question. Like, they have the data,
Well, a lot of that is just what these projects are ultimately. Is
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time with the founders of businesses, and the first thing I have to try and do is get a lot of information out of their head. Well, you've gone out and you've spoken to 200 different target customers. The richness of the information that I can get out is going to be it's going to be really high. It's going to be can have some really interesting stuff in there. If it's all just assumptions based and you haven't kind of got the data to play with,
Yeah.
it's the ingredients that that go into the meal, which is, I guess, what we're kind of creating. You tell me who your customer is. Tell me what you understand about them. Show me the empathy that you have with them. And tell
Yeah.
me what you do and how does it connect to those kind of things. Okay, well now this is how we should talk about you. This is how we take like every design project ever starts with messiness and then becomes cleaner and less kind of squiggly as it goes
I like
on.
that.
Like the my job is to help kind of unpick all that messiness and try and think about, well, how do we make it simple?
It Yeah, again, simple, do less. It's not some grandiose. It doesn't have to be some grandiose plan. It's like knowing the core of who you are and who you serve and what you do. Is brilliant. And it sounds like that company probably should launch a podcast so they stay in touch with their ideal buyer. But the idea of even having, who's your buyer? Oh, it's Phill. It's Casey. It's like it's this person. They're a human. I just talked to them, and here's what their problem is, and here's how we're gonna help. Like it's so much more real. I think
Mhm.
that comes across on web and on other properties too. If people have real life situations they're helping out, not just conjecture.
Hey, marketing leaders, it's Amanda here from Ringmaster B2B Podcasting. In today's market, B2B buying is built on one thing: trust. And there's no better way to build that trust than through a podcast that builds connection. At Ringmaster, we help you launch and grow shows that will amplify your brand and can help drive real demand. The best part? We handle all the heavy lifting so you can focus on the big picture. So if you've been thinking about starting a podcast for your brand or taking your existing one to the next level, visit ringmaster.com to chat and book a call.
I mean, I've worked in uh, brand marketing and advertising and a lot in product design as well.
Yeah.
So I've designed products in cybersecurity, in fintech, in all sorts of different areas, and across every single product and every single one of those like different disciplines that I mentioned, whether it's you're thinking about designing a cybersecurity product or you're thinking about selling writing adverts for lager, which I've done as well. It's always the same starting point. Who is it that you're trying to connect with? Like you talked about, well, you can see my customer is Phill, my customer is Casey. Like,
Yeah.
personas, like we've been doing forever. Give those people a name, give them a personality, help be able to picture them. Some companies put the pictures of the personas up on the wall. Like think about them when you're making the decisions. Um, Again, like not new stuff, and probably like kind of boring in a way. But if you have that framework of like putting humans at the center of what you're designing and that toolbox, you can kind of tackle any problem, really.
It's true. It's true. If you have the data and you know who you are, you doesn't really matter what happens. But I'm curious, and you've mentioned it a couple times. What is it about cybersecurity that makes it so hard? Like, why is it such a challenging industry?
I mean, part of the reason is, mm, well, you were at RSA
I
with
sure
me in
was.
in San Francisco. You did like you had a chance to walk the conference floor and see all the stands and the noise, the bright lights, um, but also the bagpipes. and last year the goats and the puppies and the magicians and uh, the wrestling ring with actual wrestlers in it and all this kind of stuff. The monster trucks. People probably, a lot who don't work in cybersecurity hear those things and like, what the hell is he talking about? Like, I thought cybersecurity was like the IT person in the kind of gray, dingy office. The reality is like, has cybersecurity ever been more fundamentally important than it is today? No. I mean, we're living in a world now where you and I could sit down and I am doing this. Like, we probably all are, and go, I'm effectively just going to build some software now. Like, whether it's an agent, whether it's a platform, whatever.
Yeah.
How many people who are now enabled to do that are also sitting down and thinking, I wonder what the best way to secure this is? They're not. They're thinking about, how do I get to the end result as quickly as possible and solve whatever problem I have with this thing that I've built myself. So we're now in a space where there's more products, they're more niche than ever, and they're less secure than ever, and there's more of them popping up every single day within companies. Suddenly, like everybody is either doing this officially, or their company's going, we don't want you to use Claude, but they'll sign up for it themselves and they'll just do it anyway, and you just won't have control over it.
Right.
So I think not only are businesses and to an extent consumers worrying about this stuff more, venture capitalists are also looking at it and going, okay, well, that's one area of business where AI is accelerating demand rather than diminishing it. And so we end up in a space where tons and tons of people are starting new startups every single day within cybersecurity. Money is flying into it, so the ability to market and pushing up the competition variables, pushing up the cost, all of that kind of stuff, the noise around everything, like that's going up and up and up and up all the time. And so to compete in that space is becoming a very different game to where it was even 3 years ago. Like the necessity now to differentiate has never been higher, and people need to be bold with this. Whereas 3 years ago, everybody could kind of have a nice purple brand and look the same and have those kind of Plexus animation things and all the rest of this kind of stuff. But being bold is easy, because if you're just bold and you're like, okay, well, I have this really crazy idea to put something out there and it's going to get people's attention, and then a lot of people look at it and they're like, well, what has this got to do with anything to do with your business?
I've seen commercials like that where you're like, that's weird, that's interesting, but then it's like for some other random, and guess what? I can't tell you specifics because I just don't remember. I just remember being weird, and then I don't remember anything about the brand.
Yeah.
It was just complete waste.
So with like a few exceptions, the list that I rattled off before, I have no idea who the brand that brought the puppies was. I remember the puppies, like I love puppies. Goats, no idea. Wrestling ring, no idea. Like you just remember the stunt, you don't really remember the brand. But then I think when you see somebody who has really carefully considered what story they want to tell and has done, to sound like a broken record, done all the stuff that we've been talking about, and then actually connected that to how they show up in the world, you go, oh, there's a through line here. This story makes sense. It resonates with me because they're thinking about me when they design this stuff. They understand my problems, and they're bringing it to life in a really exciting way. Because this doesn't look like anybody else. This is making. It'd be great if I could both remember the puppies and remember why they had puppies, and then I'd actually remember who that brand was. And that stuff really matters, because in such a congested space, if CISO, whoever your buyer is, not just cybersecurity, is going to be looking at 5 or 6 different people to solve that problem. If you don't stand out and they don't remember what you stand for and what you're about, you go into a bucket where they're like, any one of these people will do. So which one's the cheapest?
Yeah. And if it was puppy cyber, the latest in AI defense, then by all means have the puppies. But that's just man. Where do you think this goes? What's coming around the bend and exciting you about the future of all these changes?
Probably the death of capitalism and the world's reemergence along some crazy new AI-enabled, more fair societies. But before that,
Wow, we're really getting into it. Only took half an hour to really get through that exterior and get to the what's really going on here.
I have no idea what's like. Does anybody really have any idea what's gonna happen? Like, I suspect as far as tech and SaaS goes, there will be I mean, there already is happening a huge shift now to agentic over traditional SaaS platforms. Like, I don't know how you can justify being a platform where people have to do loads of stuff that an agent could do for you. And honestly, I think it's going to be very difficult for traditional SaaS businesses to compete against somebody like Anthropic, who, last week it was like financial tools, but you look at they publish calendars with every day, everything they released on that day, and it's just crazy. And it's not like they're going, yeah, we're going to run out of things to release. It's accelerating.
It is. It's faster and faster, right? It's getting smarter and smarter.
Yeah. So everybody is competing better. Everybody knows that it's not sustainable to charge what they're charging,
right?
And we're becoming increasingly dependent on it. But then at some point, I mean, it's a hell of a business model. They just go, okay, now we've got you all hooked on this stuff. It's 10 times more expensive, and you can't stop using it because you don't know how to do anything. I mean, you've become a baby essentially. Like that. We've made you a software engineer, but you don't know how to code. Okay, now what? So I was kind of joking with my original answer to your question, but I think things will probably get harder before they get easier, because I think we will have to hit a tipping point where we like lots of the constants and social contracts and ways that we understood how the economy worked are all just gonna stop working. Then we're gonna have to figure something new out.
I'm here for it. Let's bring it on. Let's dive into this adventure. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be crazy, and we'll report back from this podcast. But really, though, the question we're all dying to know right now is like, Phill, who are you? Who are you? How do you know these things? I feel like you're the brand whisperer, and you're sort of reconnecting us to everything we should have been thinking about in the first place. Can you take us back in time, little Phill days? What was it like? Did you know you're going to be an influencer, a thought leader for thought leaders?
I didn't know I was now, honestly.
Well, congratulations, you are.
It's official now. Where's the big hand gone?
Here it is.
I think honestly, I didn't really have a clue what I was doing with my life until I was probably about 28. Honestly, I think I have always been just interested in new things. And I think that really helped when I was younger, coming into work and things where we were working in an advertising agency, and you knew that the older people looked down on digital as if it was, it's just a kind of annoyance stuff. We want to do TV advertising because that's where the glamour is, and the money, and all of those kinds of things. But obviously there was a generation of people who were like, actually, I think this is interesting. I think social media might be big one day. I think maybe this will be more than just people posting 800 photographs of them lying on the floor of a nightclub. Every time.
Yep.
So they're still deleting them 15 years later. So like I've done lots of different things in my career because I think do you know Norm Macdonald, the comedian?
Yeah.
This is amazing joke. Moth goes into a psychiatrist's office, sits down on the couch, says, "Hey doc, I'm really struggling right now. I feel like my wife doesn't really respect me. My kids don't really respect me. My job is just horrendous. Like, AI is coming, it's taking bits of my job away, and I don't have the time to learn all these new skills." And anyway, on and on and on and on. And he gets to the end, and the shrink's like, "Wow, okay, that's really terrible." Like, one question, like, tell me why you're here today. And the moth goes, "Oh, the light was on." And it's like nobody ever thinks that joke's funny, but I think a big part of my personality is like, oh, a light's on over there. Like, what the hell is? Oh, go and look at it. Oh, product,
Right.
that's interesting. Brand, that's interesting. Marketing, that's interesting. Start a business, that's interesting.
No, dude, I'm with you, man. Though we can hop around and talk about moths, and my wife hates moths, by the way. So anytime we see them, we have to kill them. Otherwise, they'll multiply. They'll find the jar of oats, and then they'll turn into thousands of moths. So, yeah. So it sounds like you just just went where the universe sent you.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Make decisions. Like, I thought I was going to be a lawyer at one point.
Really?
Yeah, it's exactly. And I was doing work experience. We went to an advertising agency. I just dropped out and decided that was what I was going to do instead, because I was like, oh no, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I think like just being kind of open-minded about stuff generally has served me pretty well. I've also just made tons and tons of mistakes and learned a lot from doing that.
It sounds like you've allowed yourself to make those mistakes too, and to test and try new things and not get bothered about it.
No, I was just like pretty, didn't know what the hell I was doing a lot of the time, because it's probably drifting into things and going, I think I'll try this now, with no real credibility or anything like that. I think I make fewer mistakes at work now because I got it out of my system a lot when I was younger.
Well, because you've made so many. I feel like there's a set that, like, and that's like the experience side, right? So a strategist at your level has made so many mistakes. So it's a lot harder to find more mistakes to make that you haven't already made.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good. I think like you should constantly be trying to poke things and test things.
Yeah.
See what you find.
Yeah.
Right. When did the shift happen to founding things, being an entrepreneur?
Adam, my business partner, and I were both working for a startup, and we were running the growth marketing team there, and I think we had a realization that a lot of the people that we were hiring to help us with stuff, we were like, we can do that. like people would pay us to help them with stuff. And then we wouldn't have the stress of working, the crazy hours that we are at this startup and all of those kind of things. And we went and stood in Soho, just in one of those little kind of public square things, and had this kind of heart to heart, like, yeah, we should start our own thing. And then we firstly didn't do anything about it for ages because it just was never the right time. Then we started a thing that failed, which was an app that was designed to help people volunteer more easily. Couldn't get it off the ground. We did a big launch event though. Somewhere in Essex there are like 200 boxes of T-shirts with the logo on. And then actually we went, I think it'd be easier if actually we just tried to go back to, how do we help people? How do we sell the skills that we have? And we had the opportunity to actually, both of the companies that we were working for at the time became our first clients. And, we had, I think, enough money each month to pay half our salaries or something like that. And we were like, yeah, that's probably enough. I'm sure we'll figure out the rest, or we won't. So
Right.
here we are.
What's next?
It's a good question. And
Rafting guide in Zimbabwe?
I think that's the less likely end of the spectrum for me.
It's not. So you're saying it's not a 0 probability, but it's near 0.
No, it's not as, yeah. I'd say we can almost definitely rule that one out.
Okay. Fair. Yeah, because we can't be everything to everyone. So okay, no rafting guides. Got it.
Right now I am enjoying the new things that I'm able to do because of AI. And I think, thinking about the work that I do in product, I'm able to now not just have an idea and design stuff, but actually build it as well, which is very cool. And I'm learning a lot more about the engineering side of things. I'm, constantly trying to stay on the very kind of frontier in terms of AI and agents and those kind of things.
Okay.
But it's not just the technology that's interesting. It's the way that now I feel like more possibilities are opening up in lots of different areas. And as I said, with the right toolbox, and I still firmly believe whatever we're doing, who is it that we're trying to connect with? Where do we deploy empathy to try and understand those people, and how do we solve their problems? Now we've just got more ways to do that, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the death of capitalism and the rise of the New World Order, or whatever the hell I was talking about before.
Well, one final question to sort of wrap things up, and it's been so cool to learn from you. It's a bit of a hypothetical question, though. So I know it's the end of the day in the UK. I don't know if you have enough juice for one more question. What do you think?
You get one more, and then I have to go meet my friend who has organized for us to go to a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater cover band night.
That sounds great. So let's wrap this thing up. Okay. You see, I may or may not have a time machine over here in New Hampshire. So next time you have a Boston customer event, come up north, just a couple minutes north. It's in the backyard covered in a tarp. So you get to use this time machine and go back in time and meet yourself 4 days after getting that initial marketing and creative degree from university. You get to go talk to that guy, that Phill. What kind of things would you tell him?
Don't do anything differently, probably, because I don't know. I believe in the kind of butterfly effect of, you change one thing and who knows where you end up. To be honest, I'm like pretty happy sat here in North London with my wife. I have my dog. I'm like, I wouldn't want to take the risk of anything panning out differently. Like that, as I said before, like all of the mistakes that I made taught me something, and I genuinely believe that they were worthwhile. So what I would actually say is, things are not going. It's not going to go in a straight line. Like that's totally fine. Like embrace the uncertainty, embrace the change. Like when you make mistakes, feel the pain of making those mistakes. Remember them, but make them. Like go and I'm not gonna tell you which advertising campaign you definitely shouldn't launch, because it'll end up on the front page of the newspapers, and there'll be a huge public backlash against it. Just go and experience that.
Yeah.
It'll teach you something.
Yeah. Powerful words. Great way to wrap this up before hitting up your Tony Hawk cover band.
Right.
Crazy. Dude, thank you so much for coming on here. I feel like it was both fun, and we got a chance to geek out and really just distill down to what feels like first principles in marketing. No matter what decade, no matter how much tech is or isn't there, we got to the core of it, and it just feels so good. I also have like anxiety now because I have like 3 different action items I have to take in order to make sure I address some of these challenges that you've highlighted. But that's good. I feel like there's some things I need to go do now from this episode. So I appreciate you being on here.
No, I appreciate you having me on, Casey. It was a lovely way to finish. Last thing before I go, crack open a beer and listen to some skate punk music.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what everyone should do. Listen to an episode, then crack open a beer. I like that. Well, if you're listening to this and you learned something, and I freaking know you did, because I literally got 2 pages of notes over here, then share this episode with someone else. 1 person, 2 people, 3 people. 9,000 might be kind of cool too, but just get even 1 would be great. Is there someone out there that has skipped these steps? That foundation is weak. They're trying to do a web design, or maybe you're trying to do a web design. Get this information to other people so that they put things right, and they have that firm foundation underneath them from which they can build anything. And definitely any of your friends in the cybersecurity space, get this information to them, because it is rough out there. They need all the help they can get. With that, Phill, thank you again, sir.
Thank you so much for having me on, Casey. Been a pleasure.
All right, everyone. That's been a crazy cool, very exciting episode of the Connect to Market Pod. We'll see you all next time. And that wraps up another episode. Thank you for joining. For show notes and other episodes, visit us at connecttomarket.com. Connect to Market is sponsored by Ringmaster, creating podcasts and communities that create relationships, generate revenue, and drive growth.